Now, yesterday saw the launch of the Oireachtas Joint Committee report on concussion in sport, which hopes to implement a task force to ensure the safety of elite players right down to schoolgoers in sport.
3 years ago, Mark McGovern played his first and only game for the Ulster Football Club in San Francisco. During the second half of the game, he was assaulted by another player and suffered a severe brain injury, which left him fighting for his life. He is now an ambassador for Acquired Brain Injury Ireland and joins us now alongside their communications manager, Karen O'Boyle. Guys, you're very welcome this morning. Mark, I have to say, it's great to see you looking so well.
Oh, good stuff.
Now, how are you? Because you finished your rehab at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I finished the rehab there at the start of the year, so everyone's good to go now. Like, I must be at the last doctor's appointment, so I'm free now. Like.
So you've gone from fighting for your life to, as you say, being back to normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, obviously there's a lot of rehab in it and a lot of hard work, like, but...
Can we go back to the actual incident? Do you mind?
No, I work with it was 3 years ago now, so...
Do you have any recollection of it, actually?
Oh, yeah, big time.
Of it actually happening on the field? Oh, really?
I well, obviously don't remember it happening.
Oh, you don't? That's what I was thinking, yeah,
like.
yeah.
But, yeah, I remember the whole game, like, practically it was second half, playing good, guy was playing rough, and he thought none of it, and played on, and coming up that field, and he hit me some way, he obviously hit me some way, and ended up in hospital, woke up 2 months later in hospital.
Woke up 2 months later?
Not being able to walk or talk.
Correct.
When you woke up and they began to explain to you what was going on, how did you process that? Were you straight away positive, I'll work through this, or was it like, oh God?
No, I can remember the family didn't want to tell me what actually happened to me because obviously it was at that stage like it wouldn't really want to affect me recovery. So
because you were still so
ill. Yeah, and I just thought of it, and I remember the doctors coming to me bed like, and I wasn't fit to walk or talk, and they had to bring me to the toilet whenever I signalled, and at that stage like I was just getting really, really frustrated, and I just busted tears crying. But then I looked at it like, listen, I have a choice here. I can go and try and get better, or I can just stay and feel sorry for myself. But I obviously chose a different way and worked hard and got better. And here
now, when you say worked hard, that's a bit of a euphemism. I mean, let people, give them a little insight into what that level of rehab is like. I mean, you went from a stage where you didn't think you would survive, then you couldn't walk, you couldn't talk, and now you're sitting here having the chat with us, not a bother on you.
The last bit to come to me, which was probably the most worrying bit, I was on a wheelchair, and at that stage they got me on a walking aid, and then I was walking, then just step by step, but then at the last time, see, just coming in the rehab hospital, my voice started coming out because it was the very last time I wasn't able to talk, like, when I even was walking, I was still unable to talk, like, so it was getting scary then, like, but...
So do you remember when you were first able to speak again?
No, probably
It just came?
Yeah, it just came. It just voices like this in the rehab hospital just asked me to make voices, and then after that there were men voices, and then words then started coming to me.
Well, at least, Mark, you're back. And it's funny, you're actually looking so well that when you arrived in, I thought you were one of the models because we were doing a setup there for it.
I thought they were both models.
Yeah, well, indeed. And speaking of the other model, I'm
going to make us blush,
Karen, one of the Mark's been very lucky.
Yeah.
But one of the things we need to bear in mind is that this could happen a dozen times every weekend in this country. Now, okay, in Mark's case, it was what is effectively assault. It's subject of a court case, so we can't say any more on that. But people are getting these kind of blows to the head in the pursuit of sport, accidentally. And we need, A, to be aware of what it can do. We also need to have the support services, and we need to have systems in place so that if it does happen, that people don't end up in hospital for 2 months. People that they don't take a second bang to the head or that type of injury. So that's what this Oireachtas report yesterday was all about.
Yeah, absolutely. I think concussion actually is about education. You know, it's about people knowing signs and symptoms, getting the players off the pitch. The thing with concussion actually is it is a traumatic brain injury, but it's a complex process. So where trauma, you know, a bang to the head, it actually causes impairment of brain function. So that's actually the difficulty in diagnosing concussion. So why people really need to be able to look for signs and symptoms, you know, be very aware, was there a bang to head? You know, is the player a bit off? Is he a bit foggy? So I suppose...
Sometimes the player is their own worst enemy.
Oh, their own worst enemy. And that's the thing, you know, nobody wants to come off. But
it's changed dramatically. I mean, it's no longer a player goes, I'm grand, like thinking Brian O'Driscoll staggering up from the ground going, I'll carry on. That wouldn't be allowed now. Now they're saying, no, off you come. There are rules and regulations now in place.
There are, you know, and that's what's great. And to be fair to the sporting bodies, like in the past
They've
2
really
years,
embraced it.
They really have, you know. Like we've been working on this campaign for 4 years. And when we started, there really was, you know, a lack of education. You know, even there was no kind of talk about concussion. So in the past 2 years, the sporting bodies have adopted guidelines, like the IRFU and the GAA especially have brought in, you know, trying to get players off the pitch, and the return to play guide, which I suppose there's more work to be done on implementing that it's actually, you know, that this is the way it has to be, and that there's a consistency across protocols. Because I think that's where it can be difficult, is if it's not actually set in stone.
I think for parents in schools, that's the big concern.
Yeah.
You know, you're sending your kid to school. If they're on the pitch, if they get a bang, you know, are the same levels of professionalism and rules and regulations in with kids in schools?
Yeah.
Is it trickling down?
I think it is starting to. You know, we would have had a lot of grassroots type clubs contacting us for information. You know, we have some concussion cards and information that we send out to them, and we've often done some talks. But I think what the report, you know, I think that's the good thing that's coming out of the report. It isn't looking at the amateur or the professional, sorry, it's looking at the amateur, and it's about, you know, the weekend warriors, as they quoted it, you know, your regular senior football team down the country who don't have medics on the side.
So make yourself aware. People can check out the website, which is
www.abiireland.ie. There's information you can download there and stick up in the club, or that, you know, just it's about education.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mark, great to see you so well.
Happy Christmas.
Yeah,
Happy Christmas. Cheers.
We'll take a break, see you back here in a few moments' time.